Right. So in the previous class, we have seen the basic locators, like how we can use ID, then name, link text, partial link text, and then tag name, and then class. So these are the basic attributes we have seen. We can use those attributes as a locators. Now today we'll see uh, another type of locator, which is CSS Selector. CSS Selector. And CSS is nothing but a cascading style sheets. So normally this is used for designing the web pages. Like if you want to design a web pages more attractive way, normally web developers will use this technology called CSS cascading style sheets. Like if you want to apply any colors, size, alignment, font. So all these things will be done by using CSS selector. So by using the CSS selector locator, which is a method which is provided in Selenium, and through which we can locate elements. Okay. So in CSS selector, we can use existing attributes with the combination. Like we say, for example, in CSS selector itself, we have a different type of combinations. Like in the last classes, we have seen like individual attributes, like ID is individual attribute, and then class, name, link text, right? These are individual attributes we can see on the HTML directly. But CSS, we cannot directly get it from HTML, but from the HTML, we have to collect multiple attributes. So CSS is nothing but a collection of multiple attributes. We can create our own CSS selector. So that's the reason it is customized. Customized in the sense we can create our own CSS selectors. So all CSS selectors mainly used with a combination of tag name. Like suppose if there is an ID attribute is available for the element, so then we can locate that element by using tag and ID combination, by combining tag and ID of the element. Suppose if the name is available for the element, then we can combine tag and name. Similarly, if there is a class, then tag and class. Or suppose if there is any attribute, any other attribute is available for the element, then we can use a tag with the attribute combination. Okay, so the CSS we can use along with the tag name with some attribute of the element. Okay, suppose the ID is already available for the element, then why should we go with CSS selector? Suppose by using ID, if we want to write a CSS selector, tag and ID combination we can write. So tag and ID combination means tag is suppose, let's say I have an input tag and ID is there. Let's say ID is equal to some X. So we can differentiate with like this. X is an ID, for example. So the combining the tag and ID, we can write CSS like this. But if you already have some ID equal to X, okay, and we can directly use this ID attribute to locate the element. But why we need to go with CSS again? Sometimes when you're working with the complex web pages, single attribute may not be able to locate the element. In those cases, we will try to choose other options. So in that case, we can go with the CSS. So in the locators concept, there are different type of locators are available. Like there is no rule like we have to use only this particular locator in this particular situation. It's not like that. So there are multiple options are available, and whichever option is appropriate, you can choose that option. Suppose if there is an element, the ID is available, we can locate the element by using ID. And we can also use CSS along with the tag and input, or we can write an XPath. So there are multiple choices are there. So whichever option you can choose, that is still fine. The ultimate goal of the locator is we should able to locate the element, or we should able to identify the element. That is the main goal. So what type of locator you are using is doesn't matter. You can use single locator or single attribute, or you can use CSS, or you can use XPath, or whatever it is. Ultimately, we should able to locate the element. By why these all options are provided by Selenium? Because in the web pages, complex web pages, even though sometimes if you provide the right ID, it may not be able to locate element, or even if you provide the name correctly, it may not be able to locate the elements. In those cases, we need to have some alternatives. So for that reason, Selenium is supported XPath and also CSS. Okay, so now we'll see how we can write a CSS locator, CSS, to locate the web elements. Okay, so CSS is nothing but a cascading style sheet. So that is the full form of CSS, cascading style sheets. And normally web pages normally designed by using HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, right? So among those three technologies, CSS is the one of the technology through which they design the web pages. Okay, now in the CSS, we have different ways to locate the element. Different options are provided. So first option, tag and ID, tag and the class name, tag and attribute, tag, class, and attribute. So these are the four main combinations which we have in CSS. Tag and ID, tag and class, tag and attribute, tag, class, and attribute. Okay, so tag is common in every combination, and tag is common, and also tag is optional. Okay, even if you have just want to use by using ID, if you want to write CSS, you can still write it. Similarly, by using class name, if you want to create CSS locator, you can still do it. Same thing for attribute and class and attribute. So tag we can specify, and also it is an optional. Even if you don't specify tag, it's not a problem. I'll show you. So if you want to write CSS locator by using ID attribute, so how we can write it? Tag name hash ID. Hash is a symbol which will separate tag and the ID attribute. So here we have to specify the tag of the element, and which we have to capture from HTML. And here we have to specify the ID of the element. If ID is available, then we can use this combination. If ID is not available, then we cannot use this combination. Okay. Tag of the element hash ID of the element. This is one CSS selector. And suppose if the element is having some class name attribute, class name, then we can say tag dot class name. This is a combination. Tag dot class name. So class name is nothing but one of the attribute of the element. So if you locate an element with the class name, then we can say tag of the element dot class name attribute of the element. So that you can use. This is another combination if the tag name is available. And suppose ID and class name both are not available, then we can take any other attribute of the element, like a placeholder or name or any other attribute other than ID and class name. If you have any other attributes for the element, you can use those attributes. So how we can write it? We can say tag name, and the attribute and value we have to keep inside the bracket, square bracket. Here we say attribute equal to value. This is the syntax. So tag name we have to specify, and inside the square bracket, what attribute you are using for that element and what is that value of the attribute. So that you can keep in the double quotations or single quotation. It is fine. So this is the syntax of the tag and attribute. So the here attribute value means it is anything for that element. You can get it from the HTML. Any attribute, whatever is available for that element, you can get it. So not only ID, not only the name, not only class. Other than this, if you have any other attributes, you can use. For example, name is there. So you can use name equal to a value of the name attribute that you can specify along with the tag. This is the syntax. And then we can also combine a tag, class, and attribute of the element. So tag name, tag and class, how we can separate using dot. Tag dot class name, and the attribute we always specify in the square bracket. So in the square bracket, specify whichever attribute you want to use, and also specify the value of the attribute. So this is a combination, tag, class, and attribute. Okay, these are the four different options are available in CSS. So we can locate an element using CSS by using tag and ID, tag and class, tag and attribute, tag, class, and attribute. Okay, sometimes tag and attribute, this combination is won't work. For example, Then you can add some other attribute, tag, class, and attribute. Okay, so this is a combination. So these are the 4 types of CSS selectors available and which is supported by using Sil. All right. So now we will see how we can use the CSS to locate the web elements. Let's go to Eclipse and let's create new package. Just a second. Okay. New package 23. Okay, so inside this, I'm creating new class CSS Locators. Okay, so very simple and very easy also. Let's see, we have to create our own locators. So we cannot directly get it from HTML. We can get the attributes from HTML, but we need to from the CSS selector. Okay, so let me take some application here to demonstrate the CSS selector. And this is another type of e-commerce application. And I'm giving you so many applications. Yesterday also I have given one application, so you can just practice uh, on these applications. Okay, there are so many e-commerce applications are there. You can do practice on it. All right, so let's take this application, and in this we will try to locate elements using CSS selector. Okay, so the first of all, let us launch our browser and open the URL of the application. So I'm creating WebDriver variable, WebDriver equal to new Chrome driver. Let's import Control Shift O is a shortcut key. So this is imported all the required packages. Now we need to launch URL on the browser. Let's say driver.get, and in the double quotes we have to provide the URL. Okay, so once you provided this URL, then we have to locate the element. And one more important thing, guys, whenever you are launching the web page, just observe, I'm launching the browser and then open the URL of the application. You can see the browser window is open just like a just smaller window. We can see the size is very smaller, right? Sometimes you can't see all the elements, and sometimes your automation scripts also might fail because all the elements are not visible in the small window. If a window is larger like this, then I can see everything, right? So how we can make it happen in the runtime? So to maximize this browser window, we have a method in the Selenium. Okay, so what we can do is driver dot manage method. So from the driver, we have to call one method called manage, and inside this manage method, driver dot manage dot window dot maximize. So there are multiple methods we have to call. When I call manage method, it will return some options object. And from that, we have to call window, and this will return some window type of object. And from that, again, we have to call one more method called maximize. This will not return anything, but this method will maximize the browser window. Okay, let's try to execute and see now. So better to use this command every time whenever you're launching the browser. So what this will do, this will maximize the browser window. Maximize the browser window. Driver dot manage dot window dot maximize. So now if you observe, first it will open the smaller window, then it is automatically maximized. Okay. So this is how we can use this command. This is just for maximizing the window. You can just additionally add this command to maximize the window. All right. Now we'll see the CSS selectors one by one. The first one, tag and ID. Tag and ID. Just a second. All right. So let's go to the page. Now in this, we have something called search store. There is a search box is available, right? So I want to locate this element. by writing a CSS. So let us look at the attributes of this element. Right click and inspect, and here you can see some of the attributes are available. So input is a tag name, and even ID is also available. Okay, so let me try to remove this. Okay, so let's try to inspect this element search box. You can see input is a tag name, and ID is available. So you can see ID value small hyphen search elements or search terms, small hyphen search terms. So this is the ID available. So normally we can use this ID to locate the element. Nothing wrong in that. But still, if you want to write a CSS for this element, by using CSS, if you want to locate this element, so what you can do is you can just get this value, ID value, and tag name is what? Input. So how we can write it? We can write driver dot find element, because we want to locate a single web element. Find element by dot CSS selector. This is the option. CSS selector is the method which we have to call. And in the double quotes, and what is the tag name of the element? Input. And a separator hash. And value of the ID is what? Small hyphen search terms. So this is the tag name, and this is the value of ID. And this is the combination of CSS selector. Once you locate an element, and if you want to pass some value in the search box, you can pass it. So how we can pass it? Dot send keys. Because whenever you want to pass some value in the input box, we always use send keys method. So send keys, and here I'm passing something called t-shirts. Okay, so this is the entire statement. So this will able to find the element, and on the element we can pass some value in it. So this is the CSS of tag and ID combination, right? So when I execute this, it will able to locate the web element, and it will pass the value. Now you can see it is enter some value in it. And also, as I said, one more thing, the tag is optional. It is not mandatory to keep the tag name. So we can write the same statement without having tag name. So for example, let's say you can just remove the tag called input, remove this, but it should, a hash should be there. Okay, hash should be there. This is tag and ID combination. Okay, so here tag is an optional. So I have removed the tag name and just provided hash, the value of the ID. That's it. You can just run as a Java application. Okay. So now it is launched my web page and maximized. Now you can see the text value. And one more important thing. So before using this selector CSS, if you want to know whether this CSS is able to locate the element or not, because once you have used here, once you have executed, then only you will know exactly whether it is able to locating element or not. But before using the CSS in the script, before using it, I want to know whether it is properly working or not. Okay, then what we can do is go to the dev tools here, and there is an option called search. So Control F, when I press Control F or Command F, you will get one small search box here in the bottom of this window. So here you can verify whether your CSS selector or XPath is correctly identifying element or not. Okay, so now let me put the CSS here. Tag name is what? Input, hash, and ID value is what? Small search terms that I can specify. Now you can see, as soon as I put the CSS, it is highlighting the text from HTML. And when I press enter, you can see it is highlighted the element here. As soon as you press enter, it is highlighting the element on the web page. So that means the CSS is perfectly working. After working, you can just copy from here. Then you can use it in your automation script. So you can also directly verify that CSS or XPath is correctly identifying the element or not from this search box. Okay, just Control F and you will get the search box. All right, so this is a one combination, and the tag is optional. Even if you remove the tag name, still it will able to locate. Suppose in the search box, I'm removing the tag name, still it is able to locate the web element. Okay. Yeah, so ID always unique. Okay, you won't find any duplicate IDs. If you can find ID for some element, that same ID will not be there for any other elements. Okay, remember this. ID, names, these attributes is most of the times they are unique. ID is more efficient than name. Maybe sometimes name value will be same for multiple elements, but ID is always unique. Okay. All right. So this is a one type of CSS selector with a tag and ID combination. Now let's see another combination, tag and class. See how much time is over this we have discussed some time back. You should ask the question that time itself. Now you are aware of it. Driver.manage.window.maximize is a command through which we can maximize the browser. That's it. Remember that much. Okay, so first we are calling my manage method. So the manage method will return options. And from this options, we are again calling one more method called window. And from this window, it will return window object. And from that window, again, we are calling maximize method. So this method will maximize the browser. That's it. Okay, so manage is a method which is coming from WebDriver itself. That's the reason we are calling manage from driver object. And again, this will return options class object. That's the reason return type is options. From the options class, again, we are calling window method. And this window method will return window type of a object, window class object. These are predefined classes. From this window, we are calling maximize method. Okay, this is the chaining of methods. One method will return something, on top of it, we apply another method, and top of it, we are applying another method. So three methods we are calling. All three methods are not belongs to same class or same object. Okay. So if you have a question, immediately ask me. Okay, don't delay that. So I already discussed another topic. Again, I'm going back and again explain the previous one. So don't do like that. If you have any query, immediately ask when I explain about something. And after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, again, I cannot go back and explain again. Okay, people will have confused again. So ask question immediately whenever you get. Okay. All right. So this basic command driver.manage.window.maximize. So this will maximize the browser window. That's it. So this is already designed by Selenium. So we don't need to go what is class, what is an object it will return. We don't need to do anything. So just call this method, it will maximize the window. That's it. Okay, so now the next one. So is this clear to everyone? So tag and ID. So before going for the next one, tag and ID. How to use tag and ID with CSS Selector? Please confirm in the chat box, everyone. Again, I don't want to come here and again explain. So if you have any questions, let me know now itself before going next one. The tag and ID. In this, again, tag is a optional. Just specify the value of the ID along with hash. So what is the syntax of this? Tag hash ID. This is the syntax. All right. So now let's move on to the next one. Tag and class. So what is the syntax? Tag dot class name. Tag dot class. Yes. So even if you're not using tag name, you have to use a hash. Definitely you have to use hash. Otherwise it will not become CSS. Okay. Right. So now let's move on to the next one. Tag class. Let's look at the same element one more time. And if you look at the same search box element, you also have something called class attribute. You can see search box, search underscore box hyphen text, UI hyphen autocomplete hyphen input. So this is all class attribute. So we can locate this element by using this class attribute. along with the CSS tag and class. Okay, now let us write it here first. Before using in your automation, first let us check whether it's working or not. So tag name is what? Input dot, input dot. And what is the value of the class? This is a value of the class attribute. Let's copy this and put it here. Okay, then press enter. See, input is a tag name. Input is a tag name. And search box text space UI hyphen autocomplete hyphen. Sometimes whenever you see the class name like this, sometimes whenever you see the class name like this, if I look at this, this is very lengthy class name. And again, which is having two parts. This is one part, and after space, there is another part. Okay, if you see this kind of a class attribute, you can just remove the second part. Okay, just provide only first part. Second part is not necessary for some type of items. And the first part you can take, and then you can specify here. So input dot, I just specify search hyphen box hyphen text. So this will able to locate the web element. So now it is working. Now I'm using this in our automation. So you can say driver dot find element by dot CSS selector. Okay, in double quotes. Tag name is what? Input dot class name. So tag name is specify only one. So tag name is input dot search box text. So this will return the web element. On top of it, again, I'm using send keys method. Okay, send keys off. I can pass some value like this. So you can locate a web element using tag and the class. And again, tag is an optional. And if you don't want to specify the tag name, you can simply remove the tag name, but dot should be there. It should start with the dot. Okay, let's execute this one second. Okay, now it is able to locate the web element. So this is a way we can find element by using class name, tag and the class name. Okay, one more thing. So in the last class, I have told you tag name is normally used for what? Locating multiple web elements or group of elements. Class name will be same, right? Most of the times class name will be same for group of elements or multiple elements. In that particular case, all those elements may not have same type of a tag name. Okay, sometimes you may have same tag name. So by using this locator, you can also locate a group of elements by you specifying. Suppose let's say I have a 10 elements, and all 10 elements are having same tag name, same class name. Then this particular locator will able to find group of web elements. Okay. If multiple elements are having same tag name, same class, then you have written CSS like this. It will able to locate a group of elements. If it is able to locate a group of elements, here you can use find elements also. There is a possibility is there. Okay. And you can locate single web element or you can locate group of web elements. If the class name is unique for specific element, you can locate the single element. If the class name is not unique or not specific to web element, then you can use it for locating group of web elements. Okay. So it depends upon the options you can use it. So this is one type, tag and class combination. So yeah, in case if you still want to both have values, entire value, is it possible? No, no. After the space, whatever is there, you need to cut that point. Okay, it's sometimes if you have a spaces in the value, it cannot locate. So it is an example. Suppose I'm taking the entire value here. After the dot, I'm putting everything and press enter. So it cannot locate the element. It cannot locate element because after the space, basically it is truncating the value. So after the space, it is considered, if it is considered, it cannot locate. So that's the reason we have removed that part. After the space, whatever is there, you can simply remove it. Then it will able to locate the element. Okay, if you provide the entire value along with the space, it cannot locate the element in CSS especially. Okay. So any example means you can try wherever you want. Suppose if the class is same, okay, let me put only class here. Let's see what are elements it's matching. So currently this class is matching with only one element, only one element. So that is the reason you can find only one element here. So if I look at some other application, let's say, let's go to demo OpenCut application. Okay, so in this, let me find some element. Let's find this uh, header element. Okay, so we can just find, so list inline item is there. So let's use this class name. Okay, now Control F. And if I using this dot class name, you can see it is matching with 7 elements, 1 of 7. So 7 element it is matching. And if you want to use a tag also, you can use. What is the tag name of this is li. Li is a tag name. So tag dot and class attribute. So if I write this XPath, so this, sorry, if I write CSS like this, it will able to match 7 elements. You can see 4 of 7 and 5 of 7, 6 of 7, 7 of 7. So you can write like this. So this will able to locate group of elements. Okay, this locator is able to locate a group of elements. But in our case currently in this situation, this class is not same for all other elements. Okay, so with this class name we can locate only single element, and depends upon the type of application, depends upon the element, depends upon the attribute, it will work. So accordingly we have to keep changing our strategy. Okay, so we can also write this locator to find group of web elements. And if whenever you want to find group of web elements, you have to use find elements. Okay, this is the one. Now the next one, tag and attribute. Suppose ID is not available, class is also not available. Even though if they are available, no problem, you can still use it. But other than ID and class, if there is any other attributes are available for that element, you can also use any other attributes other than ID and class with a combination of tag. Okay, so for example, let's say for the same web element, search -store, if I insert this element, you can see here, other than ID and class, what are all other attributes are available for this element? Type is available, name is also available, placeholder, okay, area label, and some process ID. So these are all different attributes are available. So you can use any of these attributes to locate the web element. And again, when you're choosing the attribute, make sure that attributes always should be unique. So for example, if I take area label, so this may be same for other elements. And FD process ID, maybe this attribute keeps changing dynamically. So we should not take such type of attributes. So placeholder you can take, or name also you can take. Autocomplete, you can also, autocomplete is also on or off. It can also keep changing. So we need to take the unique type of attribute. So here you can take placeholder, or you can take name attribute. So by using these any attributes, you can locate element. For example, I'm taking placeholder. Copy the attribute along with the value, both attribute and value. So how to write the locator here is first tag name. Input is my tag name. And the bracket, copy exactly as it is. Placeholder is an attribute equal to such store is a value. So this will able to locate the web element. One single web element it is able to locate. So you can take any attribute. Similarly, name also you can take. Name is what? Q. So instead of placeholder, you can take Q equal to value. Name is an attribute. The value of name is what? Q. That you can specify. And this also will able to locate an element. So you can take any of the attribute of the element. Let me take the placeholder and then let's use it here. Tag and the attribute. Okay, so you can say driver dot find element by dot CSS locator, CSS selector. In the double quotes, you can specify. And one more important thing. So in Java, normally double quotes are not allowed inside the another double quotes. Okay. So if you still want to use double quotes inside the double quotes, you have to use something called a regular expression like this. Before the double quote, inner double quotes, you have to specify one backward slash. And same thing, before the ending of double quotes, you can put one bracket. And if you don't want to know these brackets and everything, simply you can put that value in the single quotation. Single quotation you can keep. Okay, now this is a tag name. Where is a tag name? So tag name is what? Input is a tag name. And attribute and value, both we have to keep inside the square bracket. Okay, now CSS selector, open bracket, input, and placeholder equal to search store, and this we have to close it here. This is the syntax. So this is the tag name, and in the bracket, attribute equal to the value of attribute. So attribute and the value of the attribute we have to keep in the square bracket. The whole thing we have to keep inside the double quotations. And then we can pass some value in it. Okay, that's it. So we can locate an element by using tag and attribute. And again, tag is optional here. Tag is a optional. So if you want to use without tag name, you can simply remove the tag name, but bracket should be there. So the attribute and the value, both we have to keep inside the bracket. Now execute. Okay, now you can see it is entered some value here. So this is all about tag and attribute. So what is the syntax? Tag, in the bracket, we specify attribute equal to value. So that value we should keep in single quotations like this. This is a syntax. Okay. So tag and attribute. Is this clear? So you can take any attribute of the element, any attribute of the element. How about using this for class and ID? That is the third one, next combination. So class and ID, class and ID, no combination like that. Okay, class is different, ID is different. If you want to combine class and ID, you can go with the tag, class, and attribute combination. In case of attribute, you can specify ID or any other attribute. Okay, so ID and class we cannot combine. Values in single quote or double quote. When I use in your automation script, you can put in the single quotations. And if you still want to use in double quotations, you can still use it. But the problem is in double quotations, within double quotations are not allowed in Java. So if you still want to use double quotations, before the double quotation, before putting this, you can use one backward slash like this. And here also one more backward slash is required. Okay, this is additionally, we put some regular expression. Then it is allowed. If you don't want to put these brackets, remove them and simply you can put that in the single quotation. So single quotation is allowed. This is how we can use tag and attribute. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Tag, class, and attribute. Tag, class, and attribute. Tag, class, and attribute. And when do we go with this approach? So tag and class we already have. So tag and class, this two combination we already have. But again, why we need to go with the tag, class, and attribute? Okay. So let me tell you an example so that we can easily understand. So when it is required, tag, class, and attribute. So let me tell you this with an example. Let us say I have two input boxes. Let's say this is first input box. Let's say this is our username. And this is another input box. This is the password element. Okay, two elements I have. So tag class, tag name is what? So the HTML of this element is like this: input, Okay, and input class name is there. So class name is equal to, okay, suppose ABC, and some attribute is also there. So for example, name is also there. So name is equal to XYZ. So something. So same thing here also. There is a tag name, class equal to, okay, class equal to some 123, and the name is also XYZ. Okay, now I have like this. So if you want to write CSS for username, how we can write? Normally, how we can write? Let's say class is also ABC here. Okay, so you can write CSS by using tag and class combination. How to write CSS for tag and combination? Tag is what? Input. So input dot, what is the value of the class here? ABC. I say ABC. So when you write CSS like this, tag and class, I have a two elements. Now which element it will match? With the same tag name, same class, I have a two elements. Now which element it will match? Basically, this is able to match group of elements, right? So this locator is matching two elements. But whichever element comes first on the web page, it will go and locate that element. That is fine. But by default, this locator is matching multiple elements or not? Yes. So I want to exactly locate element. I want to locate only username, or I want to locate only password. But a tag and class name is same for both elements. Then what I can do? I can find some other type of attribute which is different, So here you can take the name attribute. If I take the name attribute, the value of the name attribute is different than first username and password. So additionally, you can take any other attribute that will differentiate these two elements. Why? Because tag and class is same for both elements. I cannot locate specific element. So if you want to locate specific web element, additionally, we will take another attribute which is different than first one and second one. So here I can say name equal to, when I say XYZ, that will go and find the first element. And if you provide a name is something, the second element name, that will go and find the second element. So what is the use of specifying some extra attribute here is to differentiate the web elements. To differentiate the web elements, we can use additional attribute. And suppose if your requirement is to find a group of elements, still this is fine. Okay, if a requirement is to find a group of elements, this is fine. But I want to find a specific web element by using same tag and class, not possible. So then we can add some extra attribute. So that's the reason this combination came. Tag, class, and attribute. You can use any other attribute of the element, and this attribute will be used to differentiate the web elements. Okay, understood everyone? So why this attribute is required additionally? Even though if you have a tag and class, some attribute is required whenever you want to differentiate the web elements. So that is a point. All right, so now let us write this locator for the same element, search box. So what is a tag name is here? Input is my tag name. And what is a class for this element? Let me inspect this element again. This is the class. Let me copy this, some part. Okay, so input dot class, and additional attribute I'm taking. So in the bracket, I can take any other attribute like placeholder. You can take name also, you can take. So here I'm taking name equal to single or double quotations. You can put value of the name. Now this is the combination. One element is matching. So this CSS you can use to locate the web element. Tag, class, and attribute. Driver dot find element by dot CSS selector and specify dot send keys and pass t-shirts like this. Okay, so three we can use. And again, tag name is optional. Tag name is optional here. So if you remove the tag name, you can still remove it. So I can just remove the tag name, but dot should be there. Okay, dot class and attribute and the value of the element. Execute. Yes, every time you can check it manually whether it is the locator is pointing to the element or not, and then you can use it in your automation. Okay, and if you are confident enough, then you can directly use it in your automation. But if you're not confident, better to check it whether it's working properly or not in this box, and then you can use it later. Okay, so this is how we can use the combination of tag, class, and attribute. So these are the different combinations which we can use as part of CSS locator. Tag and ID, tag and class, tag and attribute of the element, tag, class, and attribute of the web element. Okay, so is this clear, everyone? So you guys can explore this on different applications. If I want to show you this in each and every application, this will take 2 to 3 sessions. Okay, so I shown you how to use it and how to locate the web elements, how to write the syntax and everything. So as part of assignment, you have to continue this. You have to practice it. Otherwise, you don't know. Okay, if I show everything, what you will do now? So just by listening, you won't get anything. You need to put this in the practice. Take any website, not only OpenCart. You can take any other websites and try to find the elements by writing the CSS. Okay, fine. So what is an advantage of tag and class? Tag attributes. I already told you it is a repetition. Can anyone tell me when we have to use tag and class, when you have to use tag, class, and attribute? What is the difference between this one and this one? With an example, I have explained. Just now I have explained, not even 5 minutes, just 2 minutes back. I don't know whether you are able to hear or not. So guys, can anyone tell me what is the difference between tag and class? When to go with tag and class and attribute? Just now I have given example. See, if I use tag and class, sometimes you may able to locate group of elements because class name is same for all the elements, right? Most of the elements. So when I use tag and class, sometimes you may locate group of elements. And again, if you want to differentiate them, if you want to locate specific web element, then you can add additional attribute of the web element. So by using tag and class, you can locate group of elements as well as single web element. Possibilities are there. But when I use tag, class, and attribute, you can locate one element, one single specific element. That is a difference. Okay. So is this clear, everyone, so far? This is all about CSS Selector. Okay. And this is a customized locator. Means we can write our own locators. Okay. So I'll show you how to use Selector Hub, how we can reduce our effort, how we can make them very easily, how we can automatically generate the CSS selector using Selector Hub. Now I'll tell you. So Selector Hub is a tool from Selector Hub itself, and basically it will automatically find the locators. So it will reduce a lot of our effort. Okay. So if I go back and find the Selector Hub, just type Selector Hub, and you will go to the Google extension. Selector Hub is supported all kinds of browsers. So you will navigate to this particular location. This is Chrome Web Store. You can go to the Chrome Web Store and you can search for Selector Hub. So I already added this Selector Hub. So that's the reason I'm not getting that option. In your case, you will get to add to Chrome. You will get one option here called add to Chrome. So once you click on it, let me remove this. I'm again add. Okay, so now you will get this option. So once you click on this option, add to Chrome, now it is asking for adding to Chrome, add extension, click on add extension. So once it is done, so the new Selector Hub will be added to your browser. So now let me show you how we can use it. So let's open any website. Okay, so as soon as you open the website or as soon as you open the browser, you can see this icon, XPath plugin to auto generate, write and verify XPath and CSS. Okay, so if you're not able to see here, you can just go to these extensions and here you can find it. So I already have paid version also, Selector Hub Pro, Selector Hub. So you can just pin it. So then you will able to see here. Okay, this is a option which is available. Just click on it. You will see one window like this. This is a Selector Hub window. Here you can see Selector Hub. And the other place is you can just close this and right click on page and inspect. And in this dev tools itself, you can see elements, console, sources, and everything, right? You can just see here. If you're not able to see here, click on this arrow marks. And here you can see the Selector Hub. Just a second. Sorry, not here. Here, style, computed, layout, you can see, right? So here, click on this. Here you can see the Selector Hub. Okay, so there are two places. Okay, first let us use this one and then I will show you another one. Now, this is a Selector Hub window and how we can locate the web element in this. You can just take this arrow mark, inspector, and whichever element you want to locate, you can just show that element. Okay, now I want to locate something called this particular drop down. Okay, so I'm just clicking on an element. Now, if we go back to the CSS Selector Hub, you can see here, it is giving CSS Selector. And which attribute it is using? When you click on it, it will copy here. And if you press enter, this will give you how many elements are matching. So which combination it is using? Can you tell me? ID, okay? ID, because hash, whenever you say hash, that is representing ID. Dot is representing a class. Square bracket is representing attribute. Okay, remember these three are the thumb rules. Okay, and this is a relative CSS selector is generated, relative XPath is generated, and many more are got generated. And apart from this, it will also show you other stuff, IDs and everything. Just a moment. Okay, so we can just configure this. So whatever attributes are available for that element, it will show. For example, I'm searching the input box. Okay, now we can see it is showing all this stuff. Relative CSS selector, XPath. Okay, so all this stuff, it will also show you the HTML here. So everything it will automatically display, and other attributes also it will display. If I look at this, so this is relative CSS selector, XPath, and if I scroll down, it also captured the ID, okay, name attribute, class name, absolute XPath, tag name. Okay, so you can see tag name, it is giving 7. What does that mean? Only if I use this tag, it is matching 7 elements. So when to use this tag name? If you want to locate a group of elements, in the last class we discussed, if you want to locate a group of elements, we use this tag name. 7 elements are matching. Okay, this class name we can use. With this, 1 element is matching. And the name, ID, okay. And other also there, JS path, jQuery, these are all for other automation tools, not in Selenium. Okay, and relative XPath and CSS selector. So these are all automatically generated by the Selector Hub. And if you want to verify whether they are correct or not, you can just double click on it. It will copy in the box and press enter. It will show you how many elements are exactly matching. Okay. So this is very, very simple. This is free version is available and paid also available. So free version is available enough for now. But if you are really working on real-time environment in the companies, then they can buy the paid version. Okay. There are some more additional features are there in the paid version, but I will also show you that after some time. But these are the basic stuff. Okay. So you can install the Selector Hub and you can explore this. So sometimes the dev tools will not give you the accurate results. So always we cannot depend on only dev tools option. So better to go with the selector hub, and in this you can easily get all types of locators, and it will easily gives you the options. Okay, so try to explore this, and I will also show you some more options in the next sessions. We will try to explore more options in this. It will reduce a lot of our manual effort. Okay, this is one thing, and the next one, this is the way we can use it. And other thing is, okay, let me show you once again. Let me right click on page, click on inspect. As soon as you click on inspect, you will see two windows by default. Here HTML you can see, this is not exact HTML. We can call it as a DOM, document object model. Okay, in the next class, I will explain what exactly the DOM means, because XPath works based on the DOM, document object model. The next class we will see, and this DOM will be loaded at the runtime. As soon as you browse the web page, this DOM is got loaded. And there is another window you can see here, which is having some DevTools options. In this, you can see the Selector Hub option. And this is the window. Okay. So in the Selector Hub, you can find all these options. So what you can simply do it, you can take this inspector, this is the arrow mark, and highlight whichever element you want to locate. Suppose I'm locating this image. See, as soon as you click on image, it is automatically generated all kinds of locator, and whichever you want to use, you can use it. Suppose you can use CSS. See here, CSS got generated by using alt attribute, img, in the bracket, it put alt. You can see this. And which combination it is? Tag and attribute combination. Tag and attribute combination. And also, if I scroll down, it will show you the tag name. With this img tag, 26 elements are matching. And this is Abure XPath. Okay, there is no ID and name attributes, so it is not displaying them. So this is the way we can use Selector Hub. And one more important thing. Okay, this is there, fine. But suppose if I open another application like this, then Selector Hub will not come here. Again, we need to inspect. Okay, again, we need to go here. Again, we need to click on Selector Hub. Then you can see it. So whenever you open the new page, Selector Hub will not come. So you need to open the Selector Hub every time for every page. Okay. So if you just want to avoid that part, what you can do is, instead of open Selector Hub from this dev tools, another way is there. So you can have this small icon, which is a plugin which is added at the top of the page. You can just click on it. Then one window will be open like this. Okay. So one window will be open like this here. Now, even here you can check. Suppose if I take inspect any option. For example, I'm inspecting anything, register link, inspect. Okay, once you get inspected, you will get this DevTools window again one more time. You need to properly align this. Okay, take this arrow mark, clicking on this register. Right, so now we can see all the options are automatically generated. Relative selector and relative XPath, all those things. Now, if I open another tab, see, still this window is open. So you can open n number of tabs like this. Still this window is stick to the browser. So it will not disappear. Okay. So like this, you can use it. Suppose here I can try with some other application. And now here you can locate any other elements. Okay. Now it is got generated other type of locators. Right. So this is another option which we have to use it. Either you can directly open this icon and this is fixed for every web page, or else you can just go and get it from the dev tools here. Selector Hub. Here you can get it. Okay, multiple options are there. So it will just update. You can just keep trying. So even if you're opening another page, you need to refresh the page. Okay, let's take another Orange HRM application. Okay, so let me remove this. Okay, open this window. Now go to the second box. In the second box, this window is open. Now you just need to refresh it. And once you're refreshed, you need to take this icon. So inspect page. Here you need to take this inspect page option from the Selector Hub. Here it is. Take this and locate the element. Okay, now it is changed. You need to take this inspect option, guys. Okay, so this will do. Everywhere it is there. You can see this is the one. If I take this, inspect any element, it is got changed. Okay, so try to explore this, and there are more number of options are there in this. We will discuss in the next lesson, like attribute, code, form page, XPath, healing. There are very good number of features are there. So in the coming sessions, I will discuss each and every feature from the Selector Hub. We will discuss only Selector Hub in separate session because there are a lot many features are there. It will reduce our time and effort a lot in our automation, especially when you're creating the frameworks and automating the test cases. It will help us a lot. Otherwise, it will take a lot of time to creating page object classes and everything, especially when you do framework concept. Okay, we'll see that in the next coming sessions. So this is how we can simply use Selector Hub. You can get all the attributes also, and you can check whether the locator is correctly written on also. So we can also cross check. So if you want to get this, simply what you can do is just press F12 button or right click on page anywhere, inspect, or you can just right click here also. You can see in the auto suggest menu, you can directly get it from here. This is another option. So if you want to get ID for the element, okay, for example, this is a third approach, guys. Two approaches I have shown you. This is third approach. Suppose right click on the element on the Selector Hub, you can see, you can directly copy ID, you can directly copy name, relative XPath, CSS. Okay, there are all options are there. So you can directly get it from here. Or else you can just go and inspect, and you will see the window here, and styles, computed, layout, event listeners, breakpoints. If you're not able to see here, click on this arrow marks and open the Selector Hub. Okay, so you can look at here and you can check. So this is a one way. Okay, another way is you can directly open the plugin like this. Here also you can check. So these are the three options are available. One is here. Another one is what? You can get it from the dev tools by using inspect. You can. So how can we have Selector Hub tab next to the element tab? So that's what I'm showing here. See, as soon as you inspect, okay, and go here and Selector tab. So here you can see the Selector Hub tab. And on the elements tab, you cannot get, okay, here there are some more options are there. Here you will not get. There is another window, here you will get, bottom window. So because this is a DOM structure, this is actually DevTools option. Styles, computed, layout, these are all actually the DevTools options. And this is the DOM, elements, console, sources, right? These are all called DOM actually, okay? And you will get the Selector Hub only in the DevTools, not in the DOM structure. There are two windows, two separate windows you can notice here. This is for DOM, this is for DevTools. This is the DevTools. Here under DevTools, you can see the Selector Hub. Okay, so you can go with these options and explore with the Selector Hub. Yes, so DevTools you no need to use actually. At the beginning level, I have shown you the options, but going forward, we never use DevTools. First of all, not at all needed. If you have a Selector Hub, DevTools not at all needed. And moreover, in the DevTools, you may not able to locate some type of elements, like hidden type of elements, okay, and shadow DOM type of elements. In the coming sessions, you will understand what all those things, shadow DOM type of elements, inner frame elements. Okay, these type of elements we cannot get it from the dev tools. So Selector Hub will help us a lot in that particular case. So dev tools you don't need to use at all. You can just leave it aside and you can directly use Selector Hub. Right? So you can just try it. Even if you, whatever website you are using, guys, in all websites, you can see dev tools options. So you can see DOM structure. You can see Selector Hub. Everywhere you can see. But you need to open the options. You need to open right options. Yes, CSS selector is exactly same as relative CSS selector. Yeah, they are same. Okay. So that is all about CSS selector. In the next class, we will discuss more about XPath. XPath is very huge concept and very important also, because 80 to 90% of the times we will prefer to use XPath, not a normal basic locators or CSS. XPath will work very, very efficiently. And by using XPath, we can also locate elements. Those attributes are dynamically changing. Suppose today there is an ID and I have used that ID and written some locator. So tomorrow the ID is got changed. Then our locator will fail to locate element, right? So how we can handle such type of scenarios? By using XPath locator. So in the coming session, next session, and another next 2 sessions, we will mainly focusing on XPath locator. Okay. So I will stop here for today's session. And as part of assignment, what you have to do is take this OpenCut application. Okay, this is your assignment. So take this application. In this application, try to locate some elements. Okay, you can see the image is there, input box, and the menu options and product images. Some footer links are there. There are n number of elements are there. So try to find the elements. Try to use these locators. Okay, so all these locators in this particular application. Try to write CSS locators to identify elements. It can be any type of element, no problem, but you should cover all these type of locators: tag and ID, tag and class, tag and attribute, tag class attribute, everything you should cover. Try to write CSS locator to identify the web elements in this particular web page. Any combination, but try to cover all the combination, not only one or two, just try to cover all the combinations, whatever I have told you here. All right. So let us stop here for today's session, and then we will continue in tomorrow's session.